Craig, can you talk us through how this all evolved over the last 24 hours?
Yeah, sure. So I had a call from Trevor Nisbet late last night. I think it was around 10:30 ish our time, suggesting that there may be a change pending with the fixture for Thursday night. But that wasn't in concrete, and it had to do with Richmond's ability as a Victorian team to travel across to Queensland at short notice without quarantine. So it was sort of hold your breath. Didn't make any changes overnight. Kept that to ourselves, and then heard this morning the confirmation that we're playing on the Saturday against Sydney at Metricon during the day.
At this point, if Trevor rang you or Gil rang you and told you anything, is there anything you wouldn't believe at this point? It's just chaos.
Yeah, it's not chaos. It's just I think the messaging from the AFL from day one to everybody has been remain flexible, remain agile. And we've had to do that as a club, and we'll continue to do that like many other clubs that are affected by these sorts of decisions.
In terms of your planning for a game, I mean, you would have been, I'm guessing, maybe you hadn't quite started the Richmond Scout, maybe some people had, but does it impact you in terms of preparation in any way?
I think it's probably a good thing in that we had a good solid recovery session yesterday because we were into a 5-day break. So we accelerated what we normally do. And we're able to make adjustments from this morning. So it wouldn't have changed this morning's sessions. We may have made a few very minor tweaks. Our Oppo guys have been preparing for Richmond, and so have our coaches, but that's okay. We change course and we start preparing for Sydney.
Players now get a day off. Is that the benefit for the players?
The players get extra time to recover rather than a day off. They'll get extra time to recover in the move to the Saturday game, which is a good thing for a couple of them.
Were you surprised by the Queensland Government's decision to implement this? Obviously, keeping an eye on what's been happening in Victoria and the numbers are rising up. I guess what was your reaction as you were watching it unfold?
Not necessarily. They've got to make decisions based on the facts and the risks as they see them, and they're in a far better position than me to make those decisions. And it seemed, it's consistent with what's going on in Western Australia, so it didn't surprise me that it had happened. And to be honest, in the back of our minds, a few of us in a leadership role at the club, we've been thinking something like this may occur.
It seems now that obviously we know there's a WA hub with two teams coming in, but it seems more likely that Victorians might have to base themselves interstate for quite some time. Do you think it could really open the door for 6-7 continued weeks of the Perth hub with Western?
Possibly. I guess the AFL will have to make some contingency plans for all the Victorian clubs, and whether that's based in Western Australia, potentially New South Wales, I'm sure here potentially as well. So I think there'll be a broad look at all different options, and it may lead to some more games in Perth, it may not, but definitely more interstate games, I would have thought.
How many clubs do you think could come to Perth? How many more clubs do you think that you could see there?
Well, it depends on how they use the other states in Queensland, New South Wales, etc. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a phase of additional couple of teams.
Harry, time to bite the bullet. Is it time to bite the bullet? Do you feel like we're 3 weekends in, we've had one game cancelled due to a positive test out of Victoria, and now Richmond can't come here. Can we live with the uncertainty of what's going on in Victoria when there's so many tests? And do you think this time for this club, we're going to move everyone out of Victoria and just play?
I'm sure they're thinking about that at headquarters. It's a moving target, and the levels of risk, I think it's escalated over the last 1 to 2 weeks. So they're going to have to make some pretty strong decisions in the best interests of everybody and the continuation of the competition. Is it time? It's probably close to thinking along those lines, I would have thought. But no doubt they've got all the facts I haven't, and they'll make the right decision for the league.
Do clubs need that certainty rather than worrying what's tomorrow going to bring, what's the next day going to bring? You're 3 days out from a game and you just get change.
Yeah, look, it's unusual, but it's an unusual year. From our club's position, we've got to just be flexible. We've got to be agile. We've got to roll with the punches, and we've got to get better on field.
If the league said to you, you've got to go to Victoria next week and play somebody, would you feel comfortable taking the team and the staff over there? Would you feel safe?
That would be an unusual request, I think, at this moment in time. I don't think we're going to be required to do that. Potentially, I haven't given it much thought. It would be something we'd need to consider based on all the evidence. And I wouldn't think the league would be suggesting it if they thought it was a risky position for our club.
It's looking like it looks like it could be an extended period of time before any team can fly into Victoria and just come and go as they please.
Yeah.
as Craig sort of alluded to, would it just be the smart decision now to get most of those teams out and put them in different hubs?
Potentially, depending on the level of health risk for the players and the community. So it's a broader decision outside of just the AFL.
You guys have been in the hub for a while now. I mean, how talk about being flexible and agile, how challenging is it in terms of with the players and sort of their mental state and keeping them?
It's been challenging, but it's not an excuse for us. We're not playing well enough. Our form as a team, and there's many individuals that are well below where they need to be, and we're taking steps to address that. It's different, like in the sense of it's not your normal routine, despite best efforts. It's not we train on 3 different facilities, oval-wise. We train at 2 different gyms, but they're the cards, and you need to deal with them, and you need to adjust. And other clubs are going to have to do the same, and we're in an adjustment phase, but it's not an excuse for poor performance.
Once you go back to Perth, does the club feel like you've almost sort of done your time a bit? Would you not be willing if they said, oh, we need you to go to a Sydney hub or an Adelaide hub for a few weeks? Would you sort of say no?
No, we wouldn't say no. We're expecting to play a good portion of games in Western Australia, but we need to consider the broader competition as well. And we're hopeful we will play a good cross-section of games in Western Australia, but there may be some more challenges that are thrown our way, and we'll have to deal with them as they arise.
If anything, you've got the home ground advantage this week, and when Sydney haven't been under, you guys have been in for quite some time now, so you look at it as, I guess, a chance to use your advantage and use the conditions here in National Stadium.
Yeah, so we'll play our second day game, which will be good as well. We're getting used to of Metricon as a facility. It's a good facility. As I said, no excuses.
Were you going to train at night this week?
No. We trained with some wet balls this morning. We were doing that anyway. But it's not unusual for us to do that. Even in Perth, you've probably seen from time to time we've trained with the wet balls. So we were going to do that. No, on a 5-day break, we were going to train during the day in the lead up to Richmond.
So how many extra elements have you been able to add into your week with a 7-day break rather than a 5-day break?
Yeah, we get an extra full training session really, because our Wednesday was going to be more like a captain's run look, which was a lighter look going into the Thursday game, but we'll get a full training session in now, which is great. We want to get as much work into our guys as possible and get better.
How did the players react, and when did you tell them?
I actually just told them, I mean, it's social media, but as a group we just met as staff and players at 1 o'clock just to run through what's happened and why it's happened, and let's get moving.
Simo mentioned post-game that there needs to be a bit of an audit, in his words, a bit more of a look at some changes and stuff like that. Has the food department sort of sat down early this week and looked at what needs to change from a team perspective or whatever it might be? Yeah,
I think he's talking structure, tactics and personnel. So we've started that process. We had a good full day yesterday. It was interesting. Some really good feedback from our leadership group. And we had a really good start to today. And we'll make some adjustments, and both on field and team-wise.
What was the feedback coming back from the players?
They're more technical things about how we're playing. So we seek feedback, how we defend, how we move the football, our level of contest. All those things need to improve. It's not one thing, but it's exciting. It's really exciting. And it's a good chance to have a good look at the team as well and how we line up.
The extra few days, can we lock in Jeremy McGovern in as a 100% starter on Saturday?
I'm hoping. He was very close to playing. So he pulled up sooner than we had hoped the day before after having a captain's run type session. So we didn't want to take the risk in the lead up to Thursday's game that's been canned, but I'd be really hopeful he'll be ready.
And Will Schofield, did you consider for a moment appealing it, or did you just...
No, I think we got fortunate that he just got one game. Will acknowledges that's not him. That's not the way he plays or leads. It's out of character, and we put it behind us.
Is it a bit disappointing having 2 leaders in a row make sort of silly mistakes that have now cost the team pretty poorly?
Yeah. Look, it's disappointing for them and the effect it has on the group. Adam's pointed out to both of them that's not how you lead, particularly in their senior positions. It's not good enough, and we've got to get better.
From a hub perspective, Gil said there's a chance for, if they need to, 6 to 8 teams to go into the States and things like that. Do you think WA could host that? Is there enough facilities, training facilities and venues to prepare and play if more teams had to come to WA?
Yes, I do. Yeah, it's different, obviously, to this facility. This is quite unique, but we've got Joondalup, we've got the Crown facility, we've got there's waffle facilities that are being underutilised at the moment in terms of both oval and gyms. There'd be a level of flexibility to get football moving, and I know as a community, the West Australian people would love it, and we'd probably move mountains to get it to work in Western Australia for sure.
Do you think playing games at Joondalup or Leadville or Mineral Resources Park would they all have to be at Optus?
I think Optus could cope with the load of games, just like Metricon is right now. That wouldn't be an issue. It's more the training base and hub for the teams that are coming across, and making sure that they have facilities to prepare their teams.